Hi everyone, welcome back to Vedic Life Coaching. Thank you so much for joining me, and welcome to the Sidereal Vedic Astrology Outlook for Mercury Retrograde. We're going to have Mercury Retrograde in our skies across July and August, and I've put together some thoughts on Mercury Retrograde for the collective. You can use the jump links below and you'll be able to just click into my thoughts on the collective. Equally, you'll be able to jump into your mini report for each sign. And I'm also going to go through some recent news. Now, I know I've got quite a few people in my audience who you're on a news diet, you're not consuming news, and I completely understand why. So if you want to skip the news part, feel free to do so. Equally, I am going to cover some of the recent news of the last week. I thought it would be good to take a look astrologically at what has been happening in the sky and see if we can find out why last week was one of the toughest weeks we've had all year. So I'm going to cover 6th of June, Los Angeles riots. I'm going to cover 12 June to 16 June, the tension in the Middle East that has escalated. And we're also going to take a look at, of course, 12 June 2025, the Air India flight. And I will talk you through what I see of the astrology that day, and we can take a look at these items together. So I think it's good to put these into this Mercury episode, because another thing I just want to state about Mercury is that I've found Mercury to be really healing at this time, because it's actually helpful sometimes to engage with, and what I've found is engage with videos by experts. So lately, to do with the Air India flight, I have been watching videos by Captain Steve. I've been watching videos by Max Afterburner. I also saw a good overview by Dr. Todd Grande. And as I was watching these videos, I realized that the predominant energy that is coming through there, it's mercurial. And there's something about just watching, and these are all really kind, calm people. I've heard Captain Steve offering his thoughts and prayers to everyone involved. Me too, by the way. I'm also wearing my beads, my prayer beads recently, and I'll put it on the screen. King Charles, actually, he put on a black armband at Trooping the Colour, and I think all the soldiers did the same, and that was to honour the lives lost in the crash in India. So, you know, but I've been watching Captain Steve, Max Afterburner, and they're lovely people, and they're, you know, these are mainstream people, but they're using the term prayer a lot in their discussions, and they're very caring about the families and people involved. And so I've enjoyed watching what they have to say, because they're experts. They know all about, you know, was the rat deployed and all these things. Like, I've been looking at all these things, but there's something about the healing power of Mercury that, like, when we watch a video by an expert and them talking things through from their lens or from their area of expertise, there's something healing about it. It lets you process and digest the event, and you kind of get to understand something, and the mind is healing too. I know in spirituality they kind of get you to, they say if you want to heal it, you got to feel it. That's true, but then sometimes with an event, if it's too raw, then it's actually good to be up in the mind, and it's actually good to just look at the facts, look at the statistics, look at what the experts are saying, and just sort of be with the energy of it, but in a not so emotional way. So I just wanted to make that point, that Mercury is healing, and it is healing to be in the mind kind of thing. Sometimes that's the only thing that we can do. So let's take a look in a mercurial way at some of this news, And we've got a lot to cover here, but I'll just move through it quite quickly, and we'll have a look at some dates and times, what's happening in the sky. So 6 June, Los Angeles riots, and I do believe that this situation is unfolding. I know I've got clients there, so my thoughts and prayers are with all of you in that part of the world. And when I look at the chart for the United States, I can see it. So I can see that there definitely is a problem in the sky, and we've got the United States birth chart, and we can take a look. So we've got Mars in the heart of a Gandanta point between Cancer and Leo, between home and kingdom, in the 7th house of the other people, or in the 7th house of other people, right? And I do believe that this is about, so yes, it's about home, it's about kingdom, it's about other people, and it's about foreign people, and, you know, fair enough. Look, there, and this is all, yeah, complicated and difficult stuff. You know, I'm a foreign person abroad as well, but I understand people in their home countries. They, you know, have their reasons, border security, all this kind of thing. So, but anyway, even if that's not the topic, astrologically, I can see that there'll be tension here. Mars, the situation of Mars is definitely, yeah, it's in a tense place there on 6 June for sure. Now, Mercury is on top of natal Mars, and if we have a look at that, so I'm actually going to click up on my screen and just look at this fresh as well. I've got notes, but I'll also look fresh. Okay, yeah, Mercury is basically on top of natal Mars. Yep, so I can see that, and that's as per the house layer, so the layer underneath, when we're just looking at the houses, not the signs. We've got another Gandanta point there, so there's tension there. We've got Moon on the Scorpio Sag Gandanta point as well, if you look at the layer underneath. Now, I think my astrologer's location is probably set to London, England. When I raise it to about 10 p.m, we've got the moon seated as well in that Gandanta point there. So yeah, I mean, this is a tense time. I'm also looking ahead, and I've got noted that 4th and 5th September could be difficult days in the United States. Mars passes over natal Saturn, and I'm also seeing that mid-December onwards things will ease a lot in the United States. So it's, yeah, there's tension there for a while yet, and I do think, I mean, there'll be periods of ease and relief, but there's a lot of tension in the United States for sure. If we take a look at the charts of the Middle East, from 12 to 16 June, tensions have escalated, and I have seen that in the news cycle as well. Israel's chart, so if we bring that up, I've got here, we can see Mars natal return for the country, with Rahu Ketu and Rahu in particular straddling the Gandanta point between Scorpio and Sagittarius. Again, if you look at the layer underneath, so not the signs, but you have to go a layer underneath, and you'll see that, yeah, Rahu is in a difficult spot there. So that's difficult. So I've got here tension in this area through to September. I'll just bring up the chart and have a look and see if there's anything else that I want to say. I have a feeling that, let's have a look here. So that's, oh yeah, as I go backwards in the days, yeah, Rahu is in a pretty intense spot. And yeah, it's a Mars natal return. So that's around, yeah, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, all of this is difficult. But then thankfully Rahu's moving away from that Gandanta between Scorpio and Sag. I mean, I know Rahu's in Aquarius, I can see that, but I'm looking at the layer underneath. Okay, so that's what I'm seeing there. Palestine's chart, I've had a look at that. And to me, this one looked a little bit similar to what I saw in the United States chart, which is really interesting. There was a bit of similarity there. And yeah, I got a feel of like protests kind of energy, but also the same deal about Mars being in between Cancer and Leo. in that very sensitive area there. And this is technically, like, your system will show that it's a Gandanta, although my system's not showing that, but it will, because it's as per the sign. So again, Mars is in an intense and difficult position there. And then as well, what else have we got? We've got Saturn is about to go over natal Mars for Palestine as well. I've got here Mars in a similar position to what we saw in the United States chart. Protest energies are high. Tension in this area through to September. So that is what I would say there. But I mean, tension could be ongoing actually. If I click up through the weeks and months. Yeah, I mean, again, so, well, okay, so that's next year. Saturn will pass. Okay, 2026 and 2027. I think this is all difficult for Palestine. I mean, this is all, it's tough. Saturn will pass over natal Mars in Palestine's chart. So there's, the tension is cranking up in that area, and that can be ongoing. But if we're looking at sort of the more short term, it's like tensions can ease there, September onwards. If we have a look at Iran's chart, Saturn passing over natal Mars, that is looking difficult as well. Tension can be in this area for the rest of the year. Yeah, Iran's chart, I looked at that, and I'll just look at that right now, fresh as well. Let's see, I'll click up through the... Yeah, all of this is difficult because Mars is going to be passing over natal Saturn as well, as per this chart. So this is all difficult. Actually, but for the short term, so what was I seeing there for the long term? Oh, I see, then we're going to have Mars-Saturn opposition, yes. September onwards, things can ease for the short term. But then where I'm saying for the whole year things will be difficult, that's because Saturn is passing over the natal Mars for Iran. So it could well be this whole year is difficult for Iran. That I am seeing for sure. And I've got here, there can be another really intense flare-up in the Middle East, November, December 2026. So yesterday as I was looking at these charts, I was clicking ahead just to see, okay, what could be happening, you know, when is this going to end? But yeah, I mean, that is a very difficult thing to see because this has been going on for a very, very long time. And now as I'm looking now with all these big planets, and this is Saturn moving over, say for example, the natal Mars for Iran. I mean, that's and when you factor in a retrograde and things like that, these things take time. So yeah, there are going to be tensions there for quite a while yet. Let's take a look at what happened with the Air India flight. Those are my next notes. Air India flight AI 171. Definitely my thoughts and prayers to the families involved, and of course the one surviving man. You know, everybody who's connected with this is going to need support and is going to benefit from working with people. You know, because yeah, this is that kind of time. So I've got here. The plane was carrying 242 people as it taxied along the runway at Ahmedabad International Airport on Thursday afternoon. The jet took off at 1:39 local time. And what I did was I created a chart. I wanted to look, okay, we've got a time, we've got a date. Let's take a look at a chart and just see, can we see anything? What do I see? So what I did was, I think I would have opened up my Aries moon transit chart, which is just a made-up chart, but I've got, you know, and I'll bring one of those up here and I'll just show you how I do this. So I look up an Aries moon chart, and then I'll click and look at that exact date. And the other thing I'll do is I'll click up to 1:30, although currently my software is set to London UK time, but when I did this yesterday when I was putting the notes together, I looked at 1:39 and I changed my astrologer's location to Ahmedabad in Gujarat. So I did make that change, and I took a good look at this. I also looked at, I think it was 9 in the morning as well. There was one report where there was something was significant connecting in with 9 in the morning. I had to look at lots of different things, and I just wanted to show you guys and talk you through, what am I looking for? What kind of things am I looking for when I'm just looking at the sky? Okay, so I'm not looking at any, birth chart or any of that. I'm just purely looking at the sky. What am I looking for? So I've got here, I'm looking for Gandanta points. This event does have a Gandanta feel to it because the plane did try, but it was just powerless. The power wasn't there. And when you're in a Gandanta situation, you are powerless somehow. It can manifest that way. And when I've worked with clients, it can be, I know somebody who had a long sickness due to Gandanta. He was totally powerless for the whole Mahadasha. So it can operate that way. Julian Assange, he's a good example of Gandanta. He was totally powerless. He couldn't do anything in the world. So sometimes I've seen physical things shut down. I've seen people aren't able to work or do anything, or there's lots of different ways that it manifests. But one of the key points of a Gandanta is power down, or there's so it has a Gandanta feel to it for sure. So I was looking at Gandanta points. I've got here, I'm looking at the position of Ketu as well, because visually from the accident, all we're left with is a visual, I won't bring it up, but a visual of like the tail of the plane is the only visual we have left. And that is like, it's Ketu-like, because Ketu is kind of the tail, it's kind of the rest of the body, when we look at the mythology. So I am looking at Ketu. I've got here, I'm looking at Mars, I'm looking at Saturn, I'm looking at Rahu, I'm looking at the usual suspects, right? These are some of the usual suspects that we look to. I'm looking for 6-8 relationships. I'm looking at harmonic degrees. So I'm looking at, are the degrees the same? I'm looking at anaretic degrees. Do we have anything, 29, 0, or 1 degree? Critical degree points, these things I'm looking for. And I'll tell you something, when I look at just the sky on its own, I wouldn't say that a plane would crash this day. And I think it's really important for a Jyotish practitioner to say when we don't see something, because that in itself is information. We are living in a time where we do have things like orchestrated events, things that happen that aren't natural. When I look at this event, I don't think it's orchestrated. I'm definitely not saying that. As much as I can say from looking at just the sky, my system, I can tell you I don't see a plane crash or this kind of event. Now, when I look at India's chart, then I'm able to see something here, and I will say that I think Mars and Ketu are involved. When I bring up India's chart, now I've got more things available to me. So I've got, when you plug in a birth chart, well, okay, now I can see an ascendant and the moon sign, like from the moon, I can look, Vimsholtri Dasha comes online for me. I'm able to look up Sarvashtaka Varga points, scores. I'm able to look up, there's lots of things now that I can start looking up when I plug in a chart. So when I look at India's chart, I can see Mars is aspecting natal Ketu. And it's within a fairly tight orb of about 2 to 3 degrees of orb. Yes, Mars is aspecting natal Ketu. Natal Ketu is in Scorpio, so it could be that there's like a nationwide accident, or an accident that shakes the nation. Yes, I mean, that I can see it. So if I can see it, I'll call it that I see it. But equally, if I'm just looking at the sky, I wouldn't predict a plane crash on that day. The other thing is, I didn't predict the plane crash on that day, and I didn't predict it because, and I typically don't predict negative events because I'm not looking for them. And those of you who've been watching this channel for a really long time, you know that I don't particularly, I'm very positive in my outlook, and I'm going to keep that going. Positivity doesn't sell in the world, and I know that, but I keep being positive because it's the right thing to do. The other thing is that you guys book me and I work with you every single week this year. I've been booked. I've been super busy. This week I actually blocked this week off in order to give myself a bit of catch up, but on Monday I actually did do 3 readings. So one was spontaneous. I didn't know I'd end up reading that person's chart, but then I did, because there was a scheduled Zoom call and a reading ended up happening. But I work with you guys, and one of the things that you hire me to do is you get me to look at your future, and you give me your future, and I'm a human design projector, and part of my role as a projector is I project ideas onto your timeline. So I'm very careful about that, and I'm very sensitive about how I do that. So I don't predict negative events. Now if I see something where, and this does happen, where I can see, okay, those 2 or 3 years could be a bit tough, and I look long term, and I look at years, and I look years into the future. I'm not doing the fine orbs, 2 to 3 degree orbs, and this is very I don't look at that level of detail, but I do look ahead. And if I can see a time period where, say for example, 2 to 3 years, you might not it might not be such a great 2 to 3 years for you type thing. How I would phrase that is I would say, so here's the other thing. I'll talk you through my thoughts on warning versus intuition. Apologies about the interruption there, guys. We had a loud siren outside. I thought, you know what, I'm going to start a fresh file. I think I was talking about 2 to 3 years. What would I talk about? So I'm a projector. I'm a human design projector. One of you guys did ask. You said, oh, you're interested in human design, but isn't that tropical, based on tropical Western style of astrology? It is, but I love the system. I think it's absolutely brilliant. I've listened to everything I can find by Riots, and yeah, I think it's a great system. I really enjoy it. Basically, it shows how starlight maps to your auric field, and I do use it as part of my practice. But yeah, I think where I left off, apologies, I had to cut the film there, but I think I was talking about the fact that I'm a projector. I project ideas onto your future timeline, and I won't ever put negativity there. I don't want to do that. You know, I want to give you ideas, get you excited about the future, you know, and look at all the good things. But equally, when I look ahead in someone's chart, and if I see something difficult, or 2 to 3 years that might be difficult, for example, I will say things like, that's a period of time where you might want to have some money saved. Or I might be saying, that's a period of time where, you know, you don't want to expect too much from the universe. Or I'll give you examples of things that have happened to myself and or my clients or people I know when I've seen it before. If I'll share with you, these are some of the things I've seen before when this type of star configuration is happening. Another thing that I've discovered over the course of doing this work, and I taught a lesson about this on my Patreon, and that is about warning versus intuition. Okay, so I'll tell you guys now what I discovered. So it was to do with the 9th house. The 9th house, we've got, I think it's the centaur. It's the half horse, half man. Okay, and with the half horse, what is that? Well, that is really chakras 1, 2, and 3, right? the half man, we've got heart chakra, and we've got throat, ajna, crown, and more, right? There are many more. I've studied all these. There's even, one around your feet. You can go around the back, the spine. There's lots. So there's lots to study in all of that. But if we just take the 7, 1, 2, and 3, that is going to be the half horse. And that's where the energy of warning lives there. Okay? And warning is a very valid energy, right? If you see someone doing something dangerous, yeah, you need to shout at them, get off, dude, you're going to die. Like, you have to, right? That's a warning, okay? But then when we're heart and above, that's the energy of intuition. And a lot of people in the group here, and I know this because I do readings for you guys, and I ask for your Myers-Briggs type. Just about everybody who's coming here, you're some kind of INFJ, INFP, INTJ, but you're some kind of intuitive, all right? And we're intuitive people here. And in the heart space and above, that's the energy of intuition. And intuition is generally a soft, quiet voice. It's telling you the truth, but it's not doing it in a dramatic way. So, how did let me see, because so we were talking about the Air India flight. I'm so sorry, I had to stop the camera there because that was a very loud noise that came. Wow, there's some Mars energy going on. I mean, here in the building on the 13th, we had the alarms of the building went off, like repeatedly. We all had to go outside, and it was a false alarm, but yeah. But back to all of this, I think I was explaining how it's perfectly valid for an astrologer to say, yeah, if we don't see it, that's information, and that's important information that we should provide. And you guys know this, I've said this in a lot of client recordings and live Zoom sessions, both, because a lot of you in the form notes, you'll give me dates and you'll tell me about your life and things like that. So I'll go and look up all of that. And if I can see it, I'll say, look, yeah, I see that thing. I see why this happened. And it's because of transit wheel was like this, and Vimshotri Dasha, it's like this. And I'll say what I see. And maybe lordships or whatever it is I'm looking at. But then I had with a client, this was a week ago, where I said, this big move, I said, I don't see it. And I said, if you didn't tell me it was a move, I would have predicted a promotion and that your life is going to expand. So I can see that, but it's important information that I give to my client to say that I don't see it, because then they know that, okay, maybe I've been acting regarding someone else's chart, or it was the family member that drew her there to help her move. But that's important for her to know, because she can know, well, but what about my life path? Is this what I want? Sometimes we're doing things because the person's chart is drawing that happens, okay? So these things all happen. But I think it's valid and important for an astrologer to say, if we don't see it, it's important that we state that. So I've got some notes here about the fact that we shouldn't be, so yes, Mars is responsible, and I know I've just gone through those other news events, what I'm looking at there with the United States riots, Israel, Palestine, and Iran. I can see the difficulties and the tensions there, and it is connecting in with Mars. But let's not beat up Mars. Mars is a beautiful planet. Mars, Ketu as well. Ketu is our most spiritual planet, and I've been hearing from people. Someone I know on the weekend, she was saying, well, you didn't tell us, you didn't state the dates, you didn't say what it was. And she said, she was like, you should watch these astrologers. They said these dates, and they, so I'll take a look. I wanted to come on here and just tell you what I think. I haven't watched any astrologers for ages. I just don't have time. I do this work now, and so in my spare time, yeah, it's kind of sad. I don't watch astrologers anymore. I used to enjoy watching in my spare time, but I don't do that now because now I do this work and I don't want to be influenced by other people. So, but I'll take a look, because this person on the weekend was like, you didn't state those dates, you should. So yeah, I mean, maybe I need to look up some dates, and I'm going to give you some dates now. Actually, why don't I give you some dates now, and we'll talk about flight safety. I've got so many things here. Let's just finish with these notes. So I've got one note about what are the odds of crashes happening. I typed into Google, I think this might have been on Sunday, I typed in what are the odds of dying in a plane crash, just to see, okay, what does it say? It says the risk was 1 per 7.9 million. And then I did another Google search a couple of days later, because I knew I was putting this report together. And according to PBS, they have a statistic, and they say that for the average American, it's about 1 in 11 million. And so that's pretty extraordinary, because America's airspace is busy, right? Everybody's flying in America, everybody's flying to America, I could imagine, but in America, everybody flies. It's such a big land, and it's such a thing, getting on a plane, right? And people fly as part of their work. People fly all the time. So I wanted to touch on that, just to say a lot of people might be wondering, should I be flying at this time? And I would say it should be safe, guys. And with what I explained about, warning, right? And that's chakras 1, 2, and 3 versus intuition. So what I'm about is I'm about getting all of us to, rather than be in the energy of warning and survival and worry and anxiety, rather than being in the lower nature, let's all get up into our higher nature. So this is heart chakra and above, and calmly go about your days. So what I would say is, if you are traveling over the next few days, go early, go extra early, and just say to yourself, I can sleep on the plane. So if you have to get up at 1 in the morning, if you have to get up at 2 in the morning to get to the airport extra early, do that. Take your time. Don't be in any form of rush energy, okay? Because if you're in rush energy, you might be in your lower centers, and that's not going to be good. You want to be in your upper centers as much as possible, because that's where you hear your intuition, okay? And the other thing I always tell my clients as well is that you are the CEO of your life. You're calling the shots. Advisors come and go, astrologers come and go, all these people come and go, but you are in charge all the time. And it's important for you to know that. Another thing I also say at the beginning of my readings is I say, so if you get a recording from me, I need to build this into my live Zooms, because I'm not saying these lines in my live Zooms, but in the recordings, I often say this line: please do use your intuition on every single thing that I say. And I say something along the lines of, what I'm about to say, it will be very interesting to you, but how you feel as the words come in, that's more important than anything. That is your primary source of information. And no outside person should be your primary source of information. You need to hear your own intuition, and it will guide you, okay? And the other thing I also wanted to say is, let's not beat up Mars. I know I've just talked about all these news reports and all this thing, and I've pointed out Mars. I have done that. And Mars is difficult. But at this time of Mars in Leo, I had said in my June report that this is a time of healthy masculine energy. And I said that this is a good energy. And it is, because of the people that I know from this community. One of you out there, your dad had a very successful surgery, and that is so wonderful. And that's Mars surgery. Leo, the father, the king, so we've had someone in our community her father had a very successful surgery, and I'm so happy about that. We also had a person in the community sent me a message to say that she's engaged, and that's also Mars in Leo, right? Leo is romance, and Mars, he did something, he popped the question, you know, yay, like it's like finally, you know, like, but yeah, it's great, right? So there are good things happening in the world too, let's not forget that. Mars in Leo is a beautiful energy, it's a healthy, strong energy, and I still stand by what I said in my June report. And let's not forget, we're going to have a lot of heroic men do a lot of heroic things now. So they've found the black box, and they're going to investigate, and they're going to, you know, there's a cleanup operation. People have to be found, and there's a lot of heroic masculine work that will be happening as well, and we've got to remember that. So Mars is not all bad, and Mars is courage. Mars is, you know, if I have to fly at this time, I'd fly at this time. I'll give you a story. One time I had to fly in difficult circumstances. I got a phone call in the afternoon, and then that evening I resigned from my job, and then the next day at 3 in the morning, you know, I had a backpack just with some clothes, and I was up before the tube, so I walked to find a bus, and I somehow got to Heathrow. I didn't have a ticket to Australia, but I got on a plane to Australia. I needed to be there fast, and I made that happen. You know, I had a credit card with space on it, and time, and yeah, and that was my Mars that, you know, made that happen. Mars is a glorious energy, and we shouldn't be afraid. That Mars is the planet where you won't be afraid. Mars gives you courage. Mars enables you to do difficult things. So please don't be afraid at this time. And equally, I'm not saying don't watch other people's reports. No, do watch everybody's reports. Even if there's some severe warning energy people are doing, watch everybody. But I'll tell you, VLC channel, we are sort of heart space and above here, and that's what I'm aiming for. And you know, it'll be the soft voice of intuition that comes through here. So I hope that is helpful to people. Flight safety, I'll just cover this really quickly as well. On the channel I have talked about flight safety in the past, and I just want to bring up the fact that during January 2024, this guy, Sam Salepur, I hope I pronounced his name correctly, it's a beautiful name, January 2024, Sam risked his life to lodge complaints about quality assurance problems with Boeing 787 and Boeing 777 planes. In January 2024, Saturn was moving through Satabhishak Nakshatra, and this is very much the nakshatra of people whose office is the sky. So that's flight attendants, pilots, astrologers, aeronautical engineers, all that type of thing. So Saturn has moved through Aquarius, and Saturn has been trying to issue warnings, or raise a bit of a flag, but you know, it's like, I would say that Sam Salepur he's like that quiet voice of intuition that people should really listen to. You know, he lodged those complaints, and that was so good that he did that. So that's a video that's worth checking out. Another thing I also want to say is that you can look up what model of plane that you are going to fly on, and be mercurial. You know, you can update yourself, educate yourself on, okay, is this a good model? What kind of flight history does this model have? And, you know, tune into your intuition and just see, okay, do I book this flight, or do I, you know, maybe see if I can get on a different flight, different airline. So you can look things up before you fly. We're going to take a look at Mercury Retrograde in brief. I will cover off some dates for all of you, but actually I might save this for for the monthly, but I mean, I might as well just talk you through what I've got here. 20th June, I am seeing Mars, Saturn are in a 6-8 relationship. So that is just a date that you might want to take care with. 8th, 9th August, there's a Mars-Saturn opposition in the sky. 20th July, there's a Mars-Ketu conjunction. And going forward, I will do my best to look up significant Mars dates and just get you to take a look at those. Just things to be mindful of. All right, so Mercury retrograde. Let's take a look at this. Mercury will be retrograde from 18 July to 11th August. This is happening in Cancer. I've got here Mars. Mercury doesn't particularly like being lorded by the moon. Yeah, I think this could be a bit of a challenging time, this Mercury retrograde. I'm not liking the look of August. I'm still a believer in June and July. I'm still a believer in the power of Mars in Leo, that there is good energy available to us. There's good, healthy, masculine energy available to us. I still believe in that. But, you know, in world terms, there are blockages, karmic blockages that are coming up. So, yeah. And that's some of the speed. It's like the speed of life. When we get movement in life, sometimes a blockage comes up. So that, and sometimes it's hard to know what blockages are ready to come up next. So that can be difficult to pinpoint. But yeah, August could be a bit of an emotional month as well, I'm seeing, with this Mercury retrograde in Cancer. So I've got here, in archetypal terms, this is the young prince being lorded over by his mother. Yeah, Mercury isn't too excited about this. I've got here, this is a period of time that could carry frustrations, especially emotionally, or this could be something to do with your family or your place in the family, or emotions connecting in with the ability to look after yourself. Any of that could be stirred up at this time. On the positive side, this retrograde could allow you to be emotionally insightful, could encourage a ring at the doorbell. I don't know what that is. I'll go and check that out. Today has had a lot of interruptions, let me tell you. It's great. I've got here, it's great and powerful energy for writers or to be studying and taking in new things. You also might find that you are more able to articulate your emotions at this time. Well, I went to the door and there was nobody there. Ridiculous. That is my day. Today has been so choppy, and I don't know, guys. I'm going to edit what I've just recorded, but I could have done a much better job. Doesn't matter. I'm busy today. I've got Patreon content to do. I've got so much to do. I'm just going to have to crack on. That is what it is. It's, yeah, always goes like that. Let's take a look at all the mini reports for all the signs. So we'll start with Aries. Aries ascendant, Aries moon, Aries sun, welcome. So Mercury retrograde is on from 18 July to 11th August in your 4th house of home. So things could be emotional at home. You might have to review admin relating to home, your car, your comforts in life. Mercury lords your 3rd and 6th houses. So you might be covering old ground with friends or reviewing a project at work. And something about fine detail requires your attention in any of the above areas. So that's home, friends, or work. Basically, it's detailed time, Aries, and that's all I have. We're just looking at Mercury retrograde here. All right, we are now going to welcome Taurus. Taurus, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. So this is Taurus ascendant, Taurus moon, or Taurus sun, as per the sidereal Vedic system of astrology. So we've got Mercury retrograde from 18 July to 11th August. It's happening in your 3rd house of friends and siblings. So things could be emotional with friends and siblings. You might be getting clarity on your feelings about your friends and siblings as well. Mercury might be able to help you articulate your feelings at this time. Now, as Mercury lords your 2nd house of finances and 5th house of creativity, you might be reviewing fine details relating to your money and or your creative projects and or your children if you have kids. Thanks so much, Taurus. We're now going to welcome Gemini. Gemini, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. This is Gemini ascendant, moon or sun, as per the sidereal Vedic system of astrology. So we've got Mercury retrograde from 18 July to 11th August in your second house of wealth and family. So things could be emotional at home or in connection with people from your childhood. As Mercury lords your first house of self and fourth house of home, you might be required to make decisions regarding your home, or there could be some kind of detailed project that requires extra attention. Thanks so much for joining, Gemini. We're now going to welcome Cancer. Cancer, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. It's Cancer ascendant, Cancer moon or Cancer sun, as per the sidereal Vedic system of astrology. So we've got Mercury retrograde from 18 July to 11th August happening in your first house of self. So it's possible that you might be indecisive at this time. Okay, it might be really hard to come up with a decision because you kind of think of this thing and then you think, oh no, what about that? And what about this? And like, yeah, it could be that you just, I don't know, there's lots of options or something. I've got here, this energy will help to mull over the details. And then you'll be better equipped possibly to make a decision maybe after this time passes. So I've got here, if you need to buy time before making a final decision, that's a good idea, okay? And we've got here, Mercury lords your 12th house of spirituality and your third house of courage. So these areas might be impacted a little bit as well. It might be that you gain courage by contemplating things more thoroughly this month. So it's probably good for you to buy time. It's probably good to think about things a lot extra at this time. And I've got here, journal what you know and take time while journaling to see what insights come through. You will be shown what the answer is, and it's perfectly fine to take your time. Cancer, thank you so much for joining. We are now going to welcome Leo. Leo, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. So this is Leo ascendant, Leo moon or Leo sun, as per the sidereal Vedic system of astrology. So we've got Mercury retrograde on from 18 July to 11th August in your 12th house of spirituality and escapism. So this is actually really good energy for writers of all kinds, especially if you're a fiction writer, fantasy writer, something creative, you know. It's a good time to journal your thoughts, capture ideas, note down your dreams. As Mercury lords your 11th and 2nd houses, you might be reviewing how you feel about siblings or people in your family. Equally, you might be reviewing fine details regarding your finances as well. It's a good time to think about your feelings. Thinking can provide a way of digesting feelings. That's why they always say to journal, write it out. And there's something about that writing it out process. It's like you're digesting your emotions. I've got here, you will feel more clear about things after this time passes. So thank you so much, Leo, for tuning in. We are now going to welcome Virgo. Virgo, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. So this is Virgo ascendant, Virgo moon or Virgo sun, as per the sidereal Vedic system of astrology. So Mercury is retrograde from 18 July to 11th August in your 11th house of older siblings and networks. Could be social media networks. So you might be able to pick up new clients through your writing. I'm noticing a lot of people are creating a Substack account. I don't even know what that is, but there you go. So maybe someone needs to do that. I don't know. I will check that out at some point. Check out Substack, that is. Yeah. Now Mercury lords your 10th and 1st houses. If you are careful and deliberate with your words, you can be persuasive and powerful in your career at this time. And definitely double check your work before you hit publish or send or whatever it is that you're going to be doing. So that's, yeah, it's really interesting there, Virgo. Thank you so much for joining. We're now going to welcome Libra. Libra, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. So this is Libra ascendant, Libra moon or Libra sun, as per the sidereal Vedic system of astrology. So we've got Mercury retrograde from 18 July to 11th August in your 10th house of career or being seen in the world. So this is a really good time to publish articles in your field of work, in your field of expertise. There's something about your words being extra powerful at this time. Mercury lords your 11th and 12th houses, so it's good to promote your work to an international audience at this time. And equally, there could be something academic about what you write, or you've got some kind of particular authority or responsibility is coming through your words. You might even be quoting or interviewing top people in your field at this time. Libra, thank you so much for joining. We are now going to welcome Scorpio. Scorpio, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. So this is Scorpio Ascendant, Scorpio Moon, or Scorpio Sun, as per the sidereal Vedic system of astrology. So we've got Mercury retrograde from 18 July to 11th August in your 9th house of authority. So this is a good time to rewrite your CV or your biography or your about page on your website. There's something about you getting yourself out there to more audiences. We've got Mercury lording your 8th and 11th houses, so it's a good time to do some journaling or writing that is not for publication as well, okay? So this is just your own private time, the writing that helps you process life. I've got here, it's also a great time to get yourself out there via social media, and definitely be sure to check everything before you hit publish or send. Thanks so much for tuning in, Scorpio. We are now going to welcome Sagittarius. Sagittarius, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. So this is Sagittarius Ascendant, Sagittarius Sun, or Sagittarius Moon. Sorry, I should have quoted the moon first, but that's okay. Sagittarius Moon, as per the sidereal Vedic system of astrology. So what do we have? We've got Mercury going retrograde from the 18th of July to the 11th of August. It's happening in your 8th house of shared assets. So I've got here, you might need time to go through paperwork regarding your finances or shared assets at this time. Equally, it's also the 8th house of occult gifts. You might be quite intuitive or psychic at this time. It might be a good time to write down your insights. So you might get a lot of ideas at this time. If you're a writer, this is really powerful energy to be, noting down the hidden things. Maybe you're good at reading the subtext or the thing that's happening underneath. There's something that you're tuned into at this time. Now, Mercury lords your 7th and 10th houses, so there is something about dealing with important paperwork that will really help your career or your public image at this time. And you might also want to review your CV at this time as well. Sagittarius, thanks so much for tuning in. We are now going to welcome Capricorn. Capricorn, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. So this is Capricorn Ascendant, Capricorn Moon, or Capricorn Sun, as per the sidereal Vedic system of astrology. So we've got Mercury retrograde from 18 July to 11th August in your 7th house of what you are committed to. Okay, so this could be a commitment to a business, could be your commitment to the person you're married to, could be both of these things. So this is a good time to update your CV or your about page on your website or your bio details or your LinkedIn profile or networking profiles. I've got here, this could also be a great time to journal your feelings about your heart space as well. You might really be able to process and digest some of your emotions by writing it out or by speaking it into a voice note that's just for you. Sometimes that can be a really good process where it just helps you to process and digest your emotions. So I've got here, during the journaling that you do about what's in your heart space, you could come across some insights about how you really feel, and you might find that to be really enlightening. There might be some ahas that you get, there might be some healing that happens. I've got here Mercury lords your 6th and 9th houses, so you could be journaling insights about your personal power and your authority in life as well, or what it is that you'd like to do work-wise. You could be mapping out strategies or future visions. That would be a really good activity at this time. And you could be doing things even with the 6th house and the 9th house. You could be doing things like mind maps, or I used to quite like getting A4 sheets of paper and I'd stitch 2 of them together, and like, yeah, I used to do these like big plans, and oh, it's so much fun. I like mapping stuff out. I really enjoy that process. So Capricorn, yeah, you might be doing some of that as well. But it could be both. It could be work related, but it could be heart space, partner, that kind of thing. Yeah, well, thank you so much for tuning in, Capricorn. We are now going to welcome Aquarius. Aquarius, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. This is Aquarius Ascendant, Aquarius Moon, or Aquarius Sun, as per the sidereal Vedic system of astrology. So we've got Mercury Retrograde from 18 July to 11th August in your 6th house of career, service, and competition. So something at work could come around again, or it might require more of your attention, or there's something at work that might require fine detail or precision. You've got to think carefully, or in a focused way, or in a very detailed way. I'm just now thinking about this because, like, I am going to be updating my tarot decks, and I might be doing some of that at this time, so that's interesting. Anyway, Mercury lords your 5th and 8th houses. Wow, see, that works for me too. Okay, Mercury lords your 5th and 8th houses, so your creativity might pick up at this time. Also, it might be a good time to review your finances. You might also be able to read the subtext hidden behind someone's words. It's a good time for you, Aquarius. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we are now going to welcome Pisces. Pisces, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. So this is Pisces Ascendant, Pisces Moon, or Pisces Sun, as per the sidereal Vedic system of astrology. So we've got Mercury Retrograde from 18 July to 11th August. It's happening in your 5th house of creativity, children, and romance. So this is a good time for some creative writing. It could be that you're doing some high-level planning for a creative project as well. So yeah, I've got here, write down your ideas and have fun with it. Mercury lords your 4th and 7th houses. Your writing might have an academic quality to it, or this could be that you're writing something that you publish one day as well, or maybe you are publishing something at this time. But equally, I was just saying, I think it was to Capricorn, that you might have fun, and I think you might have fun doing this as well. You might have fun doing some mind mapping, or planning things out, but in a sort of strategic or in a different way. Yeah, we've got 5th house of creativity. So, you know, sometimes, very often, I'm writing on sheets of A5 like this, but sometimes I'm sticking A4 pages together and just creating some kind of big map and stuff like that. I have a lot of fun with playing with the format of, yeah, what I'm writing or how I'm structuring it, or I mix things up a bit. Actually, this is giving me an idea. I need to do that for some of the things I want to be creating in the future. So I'm going to sit down and do some of that. Pisces, and anyone who's watched the whole video, thank you so much for being here, and I look forward to seeing you next time.